Welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. I should be speaking incredibly quickly, but I'm not. My name is Adam Cook, and it is game season. Big game season. This podcast is going to be all about big games. Games we like a lot, probably. But I can't do it alone. Well, hey, I probably could. I'm that good. But I'm not going to, because Adam Carroll's here.
Hey, I'm wondering why you need to speak so quickly.
Well, it's just, I don't want this to be an 8-hour podcast, and there's just many big games to talk about. Like, there's some we'll talk about next week. There's so many that I feel like it would be too much of me talking if I spoke about all that I've played.
That's understandable. It's game time.
It's game. Oh my God, is it game time? Gary Bailey, are you ready for game time?
I'm very ready for game time.
Give me 3 games that you're hyped for, Gary. Right now, Gary. Don't pause. Do it, Gary. Gary, do it.
Link's Awakening, Darksiders Genesis.
Haven't played that.
Control.
Thank you. I mean, you've got the list in front of you. I don't think it was too much for you to even pretend one of those games was on it. So, this is a bit of a slapdash intro because genuinely, I don't know where to start because I think there's always, 2 times a year where games go insane. There's just arguably too many of them. We talked about Rad last week, didn't we, Adam?
Yeah.
And that's a game that's just come out. This is Control, Astral Chain, Telling Lies has just come out. Remnant from the Ashes has just come out. Games we're all going to talk about. Catherine's on the horizon. Gears is on the horizon. And then we're into FIFA and PES territory. But I've been playing quite a few of the games that I've mentioned there. But we will start with Control because I'll be honest with you, it's the one I've been the most excited to play. Because I really like Remedy. Now, before we get going, I want to get the temperature of the room, and I want to ask you, Adam, and you, Gary, how you feel about Remedy, and what you like or dislike game-wise from them.
Okay, so obviously Max Payne was just a big deal, I felt at the time. I was sold. It was one of the first PC games I probably played from start to finish. When I'm not a PC gamer, so it was a big deal for me back then doing that. But realistically, it's all about Alan Wake for me.
Okay, that's fine. You haven't played Quantum Break,
haven't, but I would like to. I would like to, but
no, and it's worth playing, I would say.
Yeah. But Alan Wake is just
Alan Wake's
incredible.
Yeah, for me, it's the one. The closest they came, if you know what I mean. Gary, how about you with Remedy?
I mean, I love Alan Wake, but I think Max Payne 2 is still my favourite Remedy game, and it was just so good. I've not played Quantum Break yet. I've still not played it.
Again,
it's on Game Pass, isn't it? So
it must
think
be
it is
because
anyway.
it's an Xbox
Oh God,
game.
you need to play that game.
So at some point, it's on the list, but that list is never getting shorter.
Yeah,
so
it's never ending. What do you want me to just go for it with what I talk about Control, or do you want to ask questions? How do you want to do this?
Well, I kind of want to know.
Interested.
Yeah, I kind of want to know what it is because I hear that it's like a Metroidvania style, but the stuff that's seen just looks like you're flying around, throwing shit around.
So it is. I mean, if I'd heard the same, that it was Metroidvania. I would say it's Metroidvania light, in the lightest possible term.
So kind of maybe the original Resident Evil, where it's you're still backtracking a little bit on things, but it's more.
No, more than that, because so there are kind of 2 things that let you find new areas and progress, and one of them is kind of story based in that as you progress, you've got a key card level 1, and that goes up and up and up and up and each time you do that, there's I remember that level 5 door. Now I can go in. Often, those are kind of just rooms with a box you can open, which is a collectible. But it's Remedy. There's a lot to collect. But there are also sort of paranatural powers, and they also, because they're some of them are traversal based. Some of those allow you to access areas. It's weird to me that they show the flying, but I get why they do it because that's one of the sort of later powers, and that obviously it's not infinite flying. You can upgrade it because there's not skill trees. There's trees for each of your skills. The interesting thing about this game is that a lot of the powers are optional. I'm pretty sure there's 2 or 3 of them are story based. The rest are kind of optional. Now they're optional in as much as they're kind of in the way that you would have to almost ignore some of them because they come up as side quests. I've heard about this thing, and you want to do it. You know what I mean? It's natural to want to do it.
Side quests in the game, then.
Yeah, there's quests, there's side quests. There's actually I don't know what you would call these, but you know, in games when they do this thing like, hey, you've got 15 minutes to go and do this thing, or the mission's gone, but if you do it, you'll get a bonus, that kind of thing. Timed side quests, I guess.
Not keen on that idea.
I
hate timed stuff.
After doing the first one and getting like a trophy for it, achievement, playing on Xbox One. After doing that, then a couple more of them, and I failed one. I was like, these seem like designed, because some of them are quite hard, so they seem designed for you to come back to like after you finish the game. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So they're it's just a lot of content. It's the best playing Remedy game, I think, certainly modern era. Like it's an extension of Quantum Break, but done better. Like from the get-go, this feels great. The combat is so tight, and if I say to people, I've wanted someone to take the PsyOps Mindgate conspiracy idea and do a modern game with it for a very long time, and this is, I think, what I wanted. It's, you can be throwing chairs or fire extinguishers or tables at people and shooting them, and the gun is, because I don't think Remedy can do simple. It has to be different, and I kind of love and respect that. So in this game there is one gun. That gun you can upgrade, and you can equip 2 different guns within the gun. So there is a sniper rifle, and there is a shotgun, and there is a rocket launcher, and there is like an Uzi, but they are all the same gun. It's like switching between modes, almost. Like the gun itself warps. Kind of like it warps into the other gun, and you've got 2 different ones, and then the guns can be upgraded, and you can attach mods to the guns, and it's got all that, all the very modern stuff. But the combat feels so good, like so exceptionally good. It's not like a Call of Duty, it's not like a Gears of War. It feels different enough that when you're playing it, it's so good, you're just like, I want more and more of this.
What are you fighting? Is it human enemies and sort of like paranormal kind of stuff?
I don't want to get too into the story, because it's, even at the time this is being released, I don't think the game's quite out. But they've kind of shown in the marketing, the enemy is called the Hiss, and the Hiss takes over like a human host.
Right.
And so it sort of takes on their characteristics. So you've got like a soldier who lets Hiss take over, and now he's shooting you with a machine gun. There's a rocket launcher Hiss. There's some Hiss that have also got paranatural powers, so they can fly around in the air and dodge, so you can't hit them with melee stuff. It's that kind of game, and it throws a bit like Quantum Break. It throws a lot of enemies at you at once, and a lot of different enemies. There's the rocket launcher hitting you, and then there's the medic over there who keeps healing people. But you have the skills to cope with all the difficulties you face, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. What is the difficulty like? Is it a hard game, or is it one of those where you kind of learn as you go, and the more you learn, the better you get?
It's that. The more you learn and the more you play with the combat, the more you understand. Like, you get a shield, and you can whip the shield around you when you need to disappear, because again, your gun, there's no reload button, by the way, and there's no health regeneration. You get health like crystally things that fall off enemies, so you have to think, do I dash over there and get them to recharge my health? The gun, as I say, doesn't reload. The gun reloads when you don't use it.
Okay.
And I think that sounds bad, but it makes for a brilliant combat, because you've got a bar, your ammo bar, that's constantly depleting, quickly or slowly, depending on. So for example, there's 8 nodes, and in the initial gun phase, that's 8 shots. Again, you can upgrade this as well. But if you switch to like the Uzi, that's a lot more shots, but they go quicker. If you switch to there's like a sniper, you get 2 shots before you're out of ammo, and the nodes become bigger. So it's all about the physicality of what you see changing, and you understanding the game's language. But what it means is you also have an energy bar for your powers, so you are constantly maneuvering yourself mentally about, right, if I've got my sniper rifle out, and I'm going to take this one shot, but then I'm going to throw this at him, I'm going to jump in the air, I'm going to dodge out the way, my gun will be reloaded by that time, but I'm going to switch to my handgun, take some headshots out. It's breathtaking combat. Like, it's some of the best I've played in a while, actually. The issue people will have with it is, and I think this is in the trailer, one of the first things the character says to you is, her name's Jessie, sorry, is things are going to get weird. And the first hour is one of the coldest openings to a game I've played. Like, it is cold to the point of, oh, what's going on? You know, it almost feels like, hang on, they finally got the combat absolutely spot on, and they cocked up the story. Remedy cocked up the story. You know what I mean? But as you play on, you learn more stuff, and there are some things in this game that I'm going to be very vague and just say they initially seem to me as Easter eggs, but there are things in this game that people are going to lose their shit over. And as the story progresses, it's never less than weird. Like, it is a hugely weird game, but again, it's really difficult to talk about. You do learn and understand as you play, like in any story. And I think because Mick, who's reviewing this, the thing he and I were chatting about is he said it almost seems arrogant at first. And I took it a different way. I felt like this game wants you to just get playing it. It doesn't give you this massive long intro cutscene. She just walks up to the Bureau of Control, walks in, and the game is beginning, and you've got a gun. There's a little bit of story, but you very quickly have a gun, and you're very quickly in combat, and you get a power pretty quickly, and it wants you to learn its language quickly, and then slowly give you the story. And I think, for me, I really like that. I found it very cold, but I also like the idea of, look, we just want you to play the thing, you know.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Arkham Asylum was a bit like that, where it
a little bit.
Yeah, like it jumped into, you're in the asylum with the Joker, then shortly after he's escaping, you're fighting people, and away
take
you
Batman.
go.
Take Arkham Asylum, right? If you knew nothing about Batman at all, it was your first time ever seeing that character, the opening of that game would be, what the hell am I seeing? Right?
Yeah, you'd be like, who the fuck is this guy with the green hair?
This?
And why am I dressed as a bat?
Why is he dressed as a bat? Why does this guy look like this? And it's kind of like that, if I'm honest with you. It's kind of
I like that idea.
Don't know,
yeah, I don't mind that.
I will say, I think most people will initially be like, oh, this is this too weird? But,
that's good for me, because I'm at a point where like seeing this game and its build up, I've been just kind of like, okay, we'll see, and that to me now that's the seller of everything you've said, because I just want games to be batshit crazy now. I'm just at that point where I just need madness. Like
that. The thing is what I would label this game as is, take the combat as like side A, and it's just majestic, brilliant. Like, just when I thought it was getting too easy. Like, when I thought I was getting too badass at it, I found a side quest which had a boss that I just could not beat. And I'm like, I'm actually going to have to come back, because I need to go and get some stuff and upgrade a bit. And like, I've got every weapon and every power at this point, but I was missing one weapon, weapon type, gun mode. I don't know what we're going to call these things. But on the other side of the story, I don't know.
Can I backtrack a second there, just before you? Just there's one thing you said, and I just when you were on about Easter eggs, say that people are going to lose their shit over. Is that people who have played previous Remedy games, or is that just people in general?
It might be people who've played previous Remedy games,
but like, is it an achievement in its own way if like we play this and like I think one of the last games to do that, where you would play this and you would lose your shit, is Nier. Like. When you play Nier...
Okay, so not quite in that way.
Okay.
So, see, neither of you have played Quantum Break. So this isn't a spoiler. In Quantum Break, because Remedy do this all the time, there are loads of references to other games. At the time, they actually referenced Alan Wake, I think I counted 4 times in half of the game. But at the time, that actually annoyed me, because it's like, yeah, but it's not funny. I want that game. I want more of that game. And you're kind of teasing me. You know what I mean? Enough time has passed, and this game is good enough. I found something. There's a lot of... I think Alan Wake has the same. I think all of their games have like collectible like pages that you just read, and it really reveals even more of the story. I found one off the beaten path, and I was like, oh. And then I found another one relating to the same issue, and then a third one, to the point where I think they're telling me something that made me just literally go, I was really enjoying this game. Now I am like, whoa. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say any more than that, because I think people are probably going to guess already. And it's not a spoiler, because you've not told you what it is.
Yeah.
I think Control is fantastic. I genuinely think it's their... See, I played Alan Wake. I was going to say their best game. I played Alan Wake recently on PC, and I still think that game is brilliant.
Yeah. But the thing is, Alan Wake is still brilliant. Max Payne, I personally think story-wise is still brilliant. Gameplay is a bit dated, but you can still have fun with it. Do you know what I mean? How do you think this is going to be received?
See, that's the thing.
I just feel it's going to be just... I don't want to say passed on straight away, because it's not even fucking out, so I don't know. I can't predict the future. But all I'm saying is, this sounds interesting and that little bit different.
See, you nailed it. The word there is interesting.
Yeah.
This game is interesting. It is so... It is not trying to copy anyone else. It's... A lot of developers... I'm looking forward to Gears 5, immensely. I love that series, but I'm under no illusions that this will be another Gears game and they will tweak bits and pieces, but generally speaking, it's a Gears game. They've got the formula.
Yeah.
Control feels like... They've obviously used the engine they use, but Control feels like they had the idea first and built the game around it. So rather than having the game and going, right, well, we need another one of these, so we better write a story, this feels more like they had a story, an idea, and then built the game to fit the story. And that, to me, is interesting, because I don't think it's done that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about Borderlands 3, again, another game coming up soon. That's going to be more Borderlands. The amount of people who are going to use Borderlands 2 or 3 as the strapline for their review. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they'll have written a story. They've gone, right, let's make a new Borderlands. I've got an idea that I can add to it to make it a bit different. Write me a story. Do you know what I mean? This doesn't feel that way. This feels the opposite. Where they knew they had a game engine. They knew they had a game they could make. But it feels like the idea for the story, as I say, almost to a flaw in that first hour where you're like, could you tell me something?
Yeah.
Because the way Jessie delivers her lines is kind of like, I'm really a little bit vacant and I don't actually seem all that interested. And
but does it work in its tone?
Yes, but again, after you have to warm to it. It almost invites you to say, oh, the gameplay's really good, then you're allowed to see some story. Do you know what I mean? It's really good. It's going to do well in critical reception. Whether it will be their big seller, I suspect not, because it's being released in just an obscenely crowded window. Again, Man of Medan, Astral Chain, Catherine, Monster Hunters soon, I think.
I don't know. I think, though, it's kind of releasing at not the worst time, though, because if
it released 2 weeks ago, it would do really well.
I think it's still probably going to do all right. I've seen a fair bit of it.
I suspect so. It's multi-format this time as well, isn't it?
And it's kind of releasing in that little area before the big stuff. So there's a possibility that you'll get people maybe going, oh, I'll pick this up, I'll play it through, and then trade it in for Gears 5, or that kind of idea.
It's a good-looking game as well. By the way,
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, how is it?
What's it like? I assume you're on the X with it.
Yeah, I am. It looks great. The lighting's phenomenal. The physics engine is just brilliant. The only thing I would say is that there are some NPCs that look a bit weird. Like they put more detail into Jessie and a couple other main characters, and then the rest of them they were like, not too bothered. They don't look awful, but next to the others they look a bit, what's going on here?
How does it run?
Make sure you download the patch. Is all I'd say about that.
Right. Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my god, day zero, because I reckon most people listening to our podcast will be online, because that's how you would download a podcast, and we'll patch the game. They did warn us. They told us that the game will need you to download the day zero patch. They told us the date to expect it. There were a few issues I had that actually, the patch cleans them up, so it should be fine. I think it will be fine. I can't tell you what it runs like on a base Xbox. We have got the PS4 version. I haven't played that yet. Chris is playing that, and he's not here this week, so But I don't. Yeah, I really like Control, and I just hope it does well for them. And I know I shouldn't say that because I'm a games critic, and it should be like I don't care about the people. But I kind of feel like Remedy were the little boy who could. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing to be a fan. You know,
but I wouldn't see. That's the thing. I wouldn't call myself a fan. I like that. There's a. We'll talk about Astral Chain later. I've talked enough, but like I like that there are developers like Remedy and Platinum that whether they hit or miss, they swing for the moon. Do you know what I mean?
They go for it.
They're not just making the same old. Whatever they do, you can tell. Like Control, you can tell it's a Remedy game. Astral Chain, you can tell it's a Platinum Games game. Like instantly, like the opening of that game, you can tell it's a Platinum game. And this is the same. Control feels.
I've deliberately kind of kept clear of a lot of Control, but the little bits I have seen, it just looks like a Remedy game. It's just got that. I know a lot of their games are essentially like photorealistic sort of things, but they just have a certain edge to the way they look that you just instantly know.
Like I'll be honest, Gaz. Like for you, I think you will love this game, but I do think you will. In that first hour, come back to me after playing and go, it definitely gets better, right? Because it's not got the best opening. Because more than anything, because we are conditioned that unless it's even a Souls game has a cutscene introduction that kind of sets the scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This does, but it is so succinct. It is literally like a pan down as some woman talks. You don't know who it is yet. And it's Jessie, the main character. She's talking, and there's like so much weirdness in that moment of what's going on. And as you walk in, there's also because of eventually how the game goes, because of the story's progression, how it goes. The opening of the game, there's a real uneasiness to it. The kind you get when you're walking around like Resident Evil's Fall Village for the first time, where you're like, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
No one's attacking me. But something's wrong here, and I don't know if it's some sort of reality thing. Is it zombies? I don't know what it is because I must admit I tried to steer clear of it, so I didn't know what the enemies were going to be. I wondered, I'm thinking, is a zombie going to come out of me? Something feels off. But in a good way. But it just takes some warming to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Federal Bureau of Control is a bit cheese, doesn't it? Or is that just me thinking that?
I mean, it is in the game literally a government agency. So it would be, instead of the FBI, it is the FBC. Like it is.
Yeah.
It is a government agency. I don't know. I don't want to say any more than that, really.
That's fine. Well, look, They
just have some. Just before we move on, they have some, and I can't talk about them because I wouldn't dream of spoiling those reveals to people. But they have some moments. So do you know how in games often, and even Platinum have done this, they show you something really cool, but you don't get to actually do it. It's a cutscene.
Yeah.
In this, the cool shit that happens, you control it. Control. But you actually. I don't think it. Does it ever take control away from you? I don't know. I'm trying to think now. But the cool stuff that happens and the discoveries you make are about you discovering them and controlling your character. And that, to me, again, I like that. I want that respect
about, like,
from a dev.
The Uncharted games when they did that. When it's like, here's this... I forget which one, but when you're in the building as it's coming down, and it's like, you're still fighting... you're still traversing these things as it's happening.
Yes,
that's
the sort of thing.
I mean, I'd love a decent cutscene and that kind of thing, but when it's... you're
course,
part of
it.
When you're part of it, I don't know, it feels that a little bit better.
Well, the thing that some devs do is they show you this cool thing that your character does, but you can never actually recreate that in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas, say, Control is kind of all gameplay. Like there are the story is often they're cutscenes. It's weird. All I can think about is the gameplay. It's just that good. But
cool.
Yeah, we need to move on because speaking of games that tell you nothing, I mentioned the Souls genre. A game I was going to play on PC, but I had PC issues, which I finally solved, so I can play that, and I can play Ancestors now as well. Remnant from the Ashes is Gunfire Games. It's the people who made... Well, it's the people who make Darksiders now, who have just been bought by THQ. So I'd love to chat to the devs of Remnant, because they are... the people who are at Vigil Games made Gunfire, who are now back at THQ.
Yeah, it's got to be the weirdest feeling.
Must be weird.
That.
But what's the game like? Because it looks like a third-person shooter.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things. Like I said in the review, it's kind of like if you mash up Destiny, Diablo, and Dark Souls. So Bloodborne even. It's more Bloodborne, I suppose, especially with the guns. But it's really weird. It's one of those ones that while I was playing it, up until pretty much when I actually wrote the review, I was like, I don't know how to talk about this game. I don't. I honestly, I don't know what to rate it. That kind of, it just baffled me. But it's just really good. I mean, you start off just with a sword, and as it, like you were saying about Control, it doesn't really tell you anything. It starts off with a little cutscene. You get washed up on an island. You don't really know what's going on. All you've got is a sword. But you can tell it's set not so much modern day, but it's sort of post-apocalypse. So you've got a normal city, but it's all crumbling and all that kind of thing. And then you're in there and you're fighting these weird creatures which look like human trees kind of thing. It's really bizarre. And sort of one thing leads to another, and then you get to Ward 13, which is the what's it called, Firelink Shrine kind of thing. Your hub.
So this is the thing, right? I kind of really want to play this game, and so I've Mick edited our video and your review, so I've seen bits of it.
Yeah,
but every time I clicked, it looked like there is melee combat, but also guns.
Yep.
But is the melee you mentioned Bloodborne? So is it like a proper melee weapon? Because every time I looked at the clip, it was you hitting someone with the butt of a gun. So I didn't know if there's actual I can switch to a sword or whatever.
It's a hatchet that I had. My character, but it depends on the character you choose, or rather the
okay, yeah, because there's
the
three
class,
classes, isn't there?
Yeah, I went for the hunter, which started where it's like a makeshift hatchet. It kind of looks like something you'd make in Dead Island or Dying Light, I suppose now. And then I also had a handgun and a rifle. You can get new weapons as well as you go. You can buy them or you can find them. At one point, I found quite early on a revolver,
right,
which became basically my primary weapon for the most part. But then I had the coach gun, the sort of the Wild West rifle style. It's almost it's just had two shots. Before reloading, sort of a bit like a sort of a double barrel almost, but long range. And a bit like what you were saying in Control, where you're thinking sort of two moves ahead. So I'm shooting with my revolver. I'm like, shit, I'm running out of ammo. Do I go melee? Do I reload? Or do I quickly flick to the coach gun, get a couple of shots off, and back off, that kind of thing? But the melee. I mean, the melee was just, it was the right trigger or R2 on PS4, and you could just do that at any point. Then, as soon as you hold L2, you aim in whichever gun you've got equipped at the time. Right. So you can quickly switch between the two, and it's works really, really well.
So I've heard it's very difficult. I mean, it's designed for co-op. That's the thing. That's the other thing. Not only do they do the gun thing, I've been saying for ages I want a co-op Souls game.
Yeah. You can play it solo, no problem. I played when I was reviewing it. I played a lot of it solo, but the way it kind of works is you've got, when you start the game, you can choose whether to play it offline, have it friends only, or public. So I started just playing it public, and what it does is as you're playing, it just says, this person has joined your game. Now, they don't actually appear until you go to a checkpoint. So you either run back to the previous checkpoint, or once you hit a checkpoint, they'll appear sitting next to you. Because the checkpoints are essentially like bonfires. You hit one of them, everything repopulates. So
I wonder if people, because is it literally a bonfire on the floor? Because everyone seems to now just do their own version of that, and I wonder why we can't just have something that at least try and make it look different.
It's like a red crystal that, I mean, it's basically like dead as you approach it, and then it sort of comes to life and starts floating. Because the main hub that you're in, once
it's
you
mad,
sort of,
by the way, that everyone's just copying that now.
Oh yeah, I mean it's kind of the thing that comes out of these kind of games, and I suppose it's that and the sort of the difficulty is the thing that ties the genre together. Like, is it a genre or a sub-genre?
Yeah. Well, this, because it twists it, I don't know. Because I've heard also that it's procedurally generated, like, but not in the way you would expect. Like, I've heard it's you kind of roll, at the start of the game, and this is going to be your world and how you play, and you can re-roll as well or something.
Yeah, you can basically at any point when you're in like the hub world, if you go to like the big crystal which sort of unlocks at the start of the game, which is like your warp point to whatever checkpoint or world or area that you've unlocked. When you go to that, you've got the option of traveling to whatever checkpoint, or you can re-roll your world.
Okay.
So yeah, it's quite a nice way of doing it as well. So if you're struggling, you can re-roll the world, and it's random, so you're not guaranteed to get a better way through it, but it can change it up, or even if you're playing with other people and someone's like, no, I don't want to play it this way, I want to try a different way. It's not really a massive thing, but it's a nice feature. It didn't have to be there. It's kind of nice that it is. But I
do want to play it. I've got it on Xbox One because I was going to play it on PC for capture, but my PC wasn't working, so I got an Xbox One copy. And I don't know. It feels like so many games. Nobody can play them all, and Adam Carroll, bless him, listening to me go on about Control, and which I would actually think he has some interest in playing quite a lot.
I do.
But whereas Remnant, maybe not, but then you see the scores it got, and like Gary's score and his praise, and you're like, well, actually, maybe that needs to be one I play. But like, you're still
and that's
playing
what
Fire
starts
Emblem.
happening.
How do you do it?
Yeah, that's just what happens, and you're just like, oh, fuck. Like, sometimes I just want games to be received shit. And I can go, right, I can just take that off my list.
We had the sort of 2 weeks. Like, I will say, we've been quite lucky in that most of the games we're talking about today, we've had, in fact, all of the games we had very early. Like, very early.
Yeah.
And that really helps because, especially with, like, Gamescom, like, Remnant is one I have got to find time to play because it's my bag,
Yeah, it's really good. I think you'd like it. It's similar to Control. It's got a lot of stuff like behind the scenes that you discover, a lot of lore.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember how long I was into it. I was probably 8 or 10 hours, something like that. And I discovered a part of the hub area that I hadn't been to, and there's like loads of lore stuff in there. I'm like, shit. And I was there for probably about half an hour, just going through it all, going, I want to learn more. And there was just something about this game which instantly grabbed me. And
is the story? Sorry to cut you off, guys. Is the story? If I forget this, I'll be so angry with myself. One thing. So obviously the Souls genre, people always complain about the difficulty, and we're not going to talk about that because we've kind of already addressed this game is difficult.
Yeah.
The thing I'm surprised more people don't complain about is why no one's made a game like that's got, let's say, the story of, not an Uncharted, but the story is doled out at, like, well, you're beating this boss, here's some story. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Does this do that, or is it the similar Souls thing of it's doled out?
I suppose it's somewhere in the middle, because I mean you can play. There is good story in there. Like I say, you've got the intro, which sort of sets out the stall, but doesn't tell you everything. You'll get more info from characters in Ward 13, but also you'll meet characters and stuff out in the world who will then feed you more story. When you're talking to them, you've got like a dialogue tree, so you can ask them questions and find out more that way as well. So there is a proper story, but it just gives you that option of going, oh right, cool, I've found this diary, because there was one character that I met, and nearby there was like a diary. I read it and I was like, shit, it's that character. Obviously I'm not giving it. I'm trying not to give anything away, but it kind of goes, oh, that's cool. it's full of those little moments when you find like the lore stuff, because you're just like, oh shit, it's that, or you'll piece something together from what you've seen, and I love stuff like that in games. But I also love it as an extra rather than this is the only way to find out the story. That's why in the review I was kind of pretty much getting on Destiny's case, because let's face it, Destiny was like one of the worst examples, because it's just like, here's your bare minimum story, but if you really want the story, you have to go online and read it all through grimoires, and it's like, that's not really how you tell a story. But
yeah.
But yeah, this I think does it the right way.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm glad
still
it's
thinking
turned
about
out
it.
Yeah, that's kind of I must admit that's kind of. I think the amount I rambled about Control, like you can tell that game's kind of lodged into my brain somewhere. It's
great when that happens.
It's great. I want to talk about a game. Oh, obviously I know Adam wants to talk about Astral Chain. Before we do, I just want to mention Telling Lies.
I am keen on this because I am a fan of Sam Barlow's work.
It's just how. Again, it's kind of like, what do you want to know? Because this game is all.
I don't want to know anything. I actually don't know anything about the story, if I'm honest, because I know nothing about the story. Like, all I can say is I previously played his last one, Her Story.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I loved that game.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is kind of just like, it's there, it's the same guy, and I'm like, yep, I'm in, and that's that.
So that's the thing. There are a couple of issues I have with the game, but the thing is, if I talk about them, it's going to sound like I don't like them, the game. Whereas I love the game, but so much of what I love about the game is the story and how it's told. If you played Her Story, you'll definitely love Telling Lies as well. The only issue I have is there's some little tweaks to the UI in terms of in Her Story, could you rewind videos and fast forward them?
Oh,
can you remember? No, exactly.
No, I think you just replayed them.
Okay, so in this you can rewind and fast forward, but it's actually even at the fastest scrubbing speed on PC, kind of too slow. And because of the way this game works, and it's basically filmed footage of conversations people have had with each other. You can actually match the conversations up if you get the keywords right. You can go, oh yeah, that 8-minute video is the other end of the phone call that they were having, it's FaceTime almost. The trouble is that means that if that is the way it's done, which it is, there is 8 minutes where there could be 4 minutes of one of those videos where the other person is just staring at the camera, reacting to what the other person's saying, because you can't hear it because you're looking at that person's camera. And so that does make for a few awkward moments. But I will say, on the other hand, the story is just superb. The voice acting, the acting is superb. If you haven't played Her Story, do play it because it's wonderful. And if you did play it, you definitely need to play this, which is on PC and iOS as well, I believe.
It is.
It's fantastic. It's an interesting game again because it's Nick Gillum. I think it took him double the length of time it took me to see credits. I picked up on things he didn't pick up on, and we were chatting back and forth, and I love when a game does that. When you were just chatting theories and, I thought this, and this person this and that. I love that.
Yeah, it's so good. I think this is the only kind of, there's a game that just got released there during Gamescom.
Erica.
Is that the one they released chapter 1 or something, or episode 1 for?
I think it's just the game, isn't it, Erica? I think it's just.
Oh, is it? All right, okay. Well, see, I've no interest in games like that with actual actors in it. It's just I don't want games. Yeah. I don't want games going down that route. It's not for me. But because of Her Story, this is more my bag. If you're going to do that and put in actual actors and stuff, I'm down for it being this way. Do you know? This is as I said, I know nothing about it, but I'm immediately in. Guys, I don't know have you ever heard of this guy, Sam Barlow?
No, I mean I know
you definitely have, because he worked on Silent Hill games.
Yeah, he did. He was the lead designer and writer for Origins and Shattered Memories. Okay. So which is I do think they're great games, and I think with Her Story as well. He's got some really cool ideas, I feel, and I'm definitely I have to play this before the year was out. How long did it take you, Adam? Roughly?
I kind of don't want to say, mate, because
Okay.
I feel like this is a game that you just... I'll say 2 sittings. I played it in 2 sittings.
Okay. That's not bad.
But I don't want to give an hour count because I think it
Yeah,
gives expectations. And as I say, my hour count, Nick Gillen doubled. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't want to go into much more. I'm not trying to obfuscate it. I just don't. I don't
no,
think
of course,
knowing how many hours it took me will help you because it really is about your. Like in her story, the way you search
your journey.
engine.
Yeah, and it is just one of those games that, like, you just say it's great. If you played her story, you're going to love it, and that's that. So, I'm happy that the reports are good.
So, Astral Chain then, ads?
No, though.
Then. Last week I was very high on that game.
Are you still?
Yes.
Still in the same boat?
Yes. So don't worry too much.
Fantastic.
There are elements of this game that wear on you a little as the game plays. So it's longer than I expected. I was expecting a standard... I think I said this to you. Did I say this last week? No, I was talking about expectations for the game, and it kind of breaks every one of them, and it even breaks how long...
I did ask you how long do you think this game will be? And you were like, I just don't know yet.
Okay, well now I know. And I don't think I'm allowed to say the actual hour count.
That's fine.
But what I will say is, so as the levels or missions or chapters in this, because it's Platinum Games, because it's different, they're called files. Because they're case files, kind of, I guess, because you're a police person. And there are some of them that took me 3 hours. That is a level, 3 hours long. Now, I am one of these that, even if I'm reviewing a game, when I am enjoying it, I will think, like fuck, am I rushing this level? I want to explore, I want to do the optional stuff, because I'm enjoying this game, and I'm not one of those... And I know some people will go, right, well, I'm just going to get through the story and come back later. I want to play it how I play a game, because that's what I feel the people listening or reading or watching will do. They will play a game the way we naturally play games, which is sometimes you get waylaid, sometimes you go off and do 8 side quests, even though the mission is like, save the world. It's just because it's a video game, okay? So I did 3 hours, like one level was 3 hours. I could probably have done it in one, probably. So you could rush through it, but I didn't want to. The elements that are tricky are the way you control the legions is that they are kind of auto-battlers, right? They're like summoned auto-battlers, but you also have direct control over them in that you can tell them which enemy to attack. You can pull yourself to them so you're both attacking an enemy. You can use them to tie enemies up. There's so much you can do. And on top of that, there are skills you can unlock. I think command abilities, I think they're called, where you can flick the left stick down up and then spin or press a button and it does like a different... there's that if you want it. Okay, you don't need to. Again, I said last week, lots of different difficulties that, it's good in that respect. Mm-hmm. But there are also very light puzzle and platforming elements. So, like, one of the abilities you have is that if you sorry, I've skipped what I meant to say. If you hold the left trigger, you control your legion directly. And then you move it with the right stick. Which does mean... So again, it's not a spoiler, they've shown all this. There's a legion that's like a dog. And you actually... As if they didn't layer enough on this game, there are missions where you give a dog a scent and you follow the dog around to find the quest item. You know what I mean? Like, it is... Each of the legions has a thing it can do. Like, the initial legion can cure people when they're ill. The dog can... you can search for things or dig things. Again, it's got that sort of Metroidvania where you can replay levels, and once you've got the Beast Legion, you can now dig things up. Or once you've got the Arms Legion, who's a big hulking bloke, looks a bit like Reinhardt, you can now lift things up that you could get somewhere before, and that sort of stuff. But every one of them you can control directly with the right stick while holding the left trigger. And that means the camera sometimes doesn't want to play ball, because you are walking your dog, literally, by holding the left trigger and directing it with the right stick, but you are also using the left stick to move your character to follow it, because it's on a chain. It's just Astral Chain. You can't, you can go a certain distance, but if you get to the end, he's gone around a corner and you can't sit. So it does create occasions where you're like a little bit fighting the controls. There's a lot to get on top of.
Okay.
And that is fine 90% of the time. The 10% of the time it isn't is when there's like a platforming section and you mistime it, and then you lose health because you fell off. And what happens is your Legion pulls you back up, but you've lost a bit of health. It's the DMC thing, you fell off the gap, so you come back, but you've lost a bit of health.
Yeah.
But then there are puzzles where you have to use the chain to move things around, and again, you're trying to walk yourself, you're trying to move your Legion, which is the two of you are using a chain to pull a puzzle along, and it just all gets a little bit like... There were times when I was like, I kind of just want to go back to the fighting. I just want to go back to that really amazing fighting, because there is depth here. I've realised that was what I said last week. I wasn't sure. Now I've played obviously more of it. There's definitely depth here. Like people who are good at, like, super good at these games are going to be doing some mental stuff, because you can switch legions like that. You can send your legion out, and the bullet time of, like, if you dodge at the right time in Bayonetta, it's got that, but it's also got, it will randomly, I think it's random anyway, it will flash like a silver flash on the screen, and if you hit the left trigger, you'll do like a Legion action, so you just together suddenly, like, you hit it and you wham, and you bang into it with the chain, and then it will do another one suddenly, and you can follow up with another move, and then you're back in control of the combat, and you're hitting the right trigger to smash them up, and it runs really well, even on the big screen.
Okay.
But there also isn't like a tremendous amount of variety. Like, most areas, you start with a hub area where you can do all the side quests, you can do your investigation, and then the level ends in you're doing a boss battle, often in like I don't want to say the location, but like a location that you revisit quite often. It's brilliant. It's actually brilliant.
Are you able to, like, I don't know if you can answer this, but does the world keep you interested all the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's very anime. Like, if you can't stand anime stories, the gameplay's good enough, I think, still, for you to ignore it. But like, there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of story, there's a lot of weirdness. Like, it's very Platinum. It's distinctive,
Yeah.
Like, at the moment in my head, I'm tossing up whether I actually prefer Control or Astral Chain, but I think they're both absolutely brilliant and both essential purchases. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's just Astral Chain is just like it's difficult, because we do this category at the end of the year, but we do a bigger surprise category or nicer surprise category. I wasn't expecting, because of the way this was announced. Everyone's almost talking about Bayonetta 3 being the next Platinum game. We can't wait for Bayonetta 3. And because of the way this was announced, it's like, oh, wow, Platinum are doing another game for Nintendo. Oh, shit, it's out in 2-3 months. And we still haven't heard Bayonetta 3 or anything. It made me think, well, it must be the B team on this. Well, maybe it is, but the B team has now upped their game to be on par with the A team. I don't think the story's quite up there with Nier, but Nier is developed by them. But obviously, Yoko Taro is not Platinum Games employee, So,
do you say that in terms of, like, I know we have to be super vague, obviously, but in terms of its wildness, or
the wildness in this is more, well, it's more the gameplay than the story. The story is very weird and very anime, but once you settle into it, you kind of can see where it's going. Like, there's a scene that I won't spoil, but I'll be vague. That it's kind of established. Oh, this person's the baddie. Okay, they're kind of my nemesis almost, right? And there's a scene where they show you like camera footage. And it does this thing where you look at it and it's like, well, that's the baddie. I can see that's the baddie. But the voiceover is like something akin to, oh, I can't make out who that could be. They certainly seem to know where they're going though. And you're like, it's the baddie. I can see it's the baddie. Do you know what I mean? That it's that level of story. It's not quite up there with the very best, but the combat is it's really, again, like Control. It's really interesting and different. And I feel like, even finishing the game, I'm scratching the surface of what the combat could actually offer, given to someone who is like, triple S ranking DMCs and those people. I think are going to have a riot with this. And again, the difficulty is so accessible; it's really nice. I worry that Astral Chain will be one of those games we talk about for a couple of weeks and then it's gone. Do you know what I mean?
I'd like to think not, because of it being a Switch exclusive. And maybe. I just like, obviously I'm just fucking all about the Switch always, but like, I'm just happy that this is just another this sounds positive. You sound like
it's
you
absolutely
really like
fantastic.
this game.
I haven't written. We're recording this very early because we wanted to record a podcast early because it's all embargoed stuff and we can publish after the embargo lifts. I haven't written the review of this one yet, so I haven't scored it. It's going to be a high score. Like, it's going to be a high score because I think some of my frustration is with those platforming sections is because I'm playing so much of it in such a short amount of time. Because although, again, we've had this super early, I won't lie, I didn't think it would be that long a game. So there's sort of some of the menus and stuff where you realise, oh, those question marks are level names, and I've unlocked those ones. Oh, there's that many. Oh, wow, they're all taking me at least 2 hours each. Okay, I need to get a bit of a move on, but I'm not willing to skip shit. You know what I mean? I want to see this stuff. So what I've ended up doing is realising, oh, I've got to play a lot of this at a lot of the time. And I think that's why when you hear what I've said about that stuff, I think when I sit down to write the review, that stuff won't bother me as much because I'm playing so much of it, and that isn't how people tend to play games. You don't sit down and play 2 hours of a game every evening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
excited. I'm excited.
That I think is. I mean, before we do that, Gaz, are you into Astral Chain? Are you?
No, I'm not a Platinum fan, so
Okay.
I'm one of those.
Oh, you didn't get on with Nier, yeah?
Yeah, no, you didn't.
I think.
Move. Let's not.
I think Metal Gear was probably the only one I've really enjoyed, and even that I was like, it's like a 7 out of 10 kind
And
of
not
game.
even what about Bayonetta?
No, it was just poor man's Devil May Cry to me.
Hey.
It is.
I
it
would
is
take
though.
Devil May Cry over Bayonetta.
Yeah.
Well,
It
the
depends.
DMC.
No, come on, no. It depends
yeah,
a second
okay.
tier.
DMC Devil May Cry. Yeah, I'll talk
Over
about that.
Bayonetta.
And the
2.
original.
I would, yeah.
The original Devil May Cry as well.
Again, for its time, not now. It's not aged well. But we're talking Ninja Theory DMC. I would take over Bayonetta 1 or 2. Yeah.
But yeah, I never really saw what everyone saw in Platinum, and it's like I don't think anyone's going to be shocked by that, really, are they?
No, but the thing is, guys, I've said many a time, I think that developer gets an easy ride.
Oh, it does, yeah.
I'm saying this is me, the person who has, I think, probably been one of those critical people in the UK media about Platinum because I think people fawn over them, and they have made bad games, and I'm telling you, this is a corker, an absolute walloper of a game. It really is. And before we get to listen to correspondence, I have a question for you. Okay, now this might feel a little dated, but I haven't had a chance to speak to anyone about this. I want to talk to you about probably the biggest thing at Gamescom. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Fucking Jeff Keighley?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I want to know what you guys... I keep seeing people say, I still don't know what Death Stranding is. And I don't get it. I think it's now... There's been enough snippets of gameplay. I think it's kind of obvious what it is, but I want to know what you guys think.
So I watched this at a friend's house. It came on, and I was just like, all right, cool, here we go. Death Stranding, boom. Went on, and I just went... First off, anyway, actually, because I know we don't talk about like news
We don't
at
do
all
news these
anymore,
days
really.
on the pod.
So, like, we could vent a lot about certain things.
Oh, but we don't.
This is... Yeah, but this particular thing... First off, when Kojima came out, and then there was just a load of people just taking selfies in front, I just thought that was weird, and it just seemed like... It was just no holds barred. It was just really bizarre for such an event live around the world that, like, they were letting all these people just get up really close and do selfies, and I was like, alright, this just looks like a clusterfuck. Then we get the game, and we saw what we saw. Jeff Keighley comes on, and I just went out loud, are we fucking serious? I was just like, what is going on? And when it ended, I was angry. I was just really fucking angry because I think that game just became so incredibly obvious as in what it is. I think
like, so too. Don't say what you think the game's going to be yet.
I will not say anything, but I will say that the game is trying to... It's like they're overthinking and trying to make it sound way deeper and more kind of like, it's this and it's this, and it's like, so it's just this. That's what it is. And I was sitting there and I thought the game looked... It just looked really fucking boring. And I'm saying that out of being a huge Metal Gear fan, and I think that like when the first thing we see is you pissing,
so I went like that. That for me, the length of time he pisses for, the amount of times they try and show you his Corey, but they did that to basically show you can't see it.
And that's it. Like
I
in
saw
this
that,
day and age
mate.
of video games. Like,
Well, I saw that, and all I could think of is a month ago. I don't want to get too deep, but a month ago, not even a month ago, man. 3 weeks ago, we were talking about a mass shooting where people were blaming video games and talking about how children were playing video games and it's warping minds, and all the people arguing, talking about no, games aren't that, they're art. This is a guy lauded for his artistry, his auteur nature in a game, and they have to show you him pissing on a mushroom and saying how you and all your mates can piss on a mushroom, and why the hell are we still talking about this guy?
Well, I understand. I do get why we are, because
I know. But what I'm saying is that
I think it's time to just
we're talking about that, and it's just I've not seen articles about that.
Yeah, I do think like the praise afterwards and stuff like that. There is people who are just like, I still don't know what's going on. I'm like, come on, you do.
But you know what, that bit was also the biggest clue as to what kind of game that is, what genre of game that is, which we'll get to, but don't say it, because I think you're on the same page as me there.
Yeah, and I just thought that like to start off the gameplay with that, to then go to the ladder thing that we've seen already, to then the Jeff Keighley scene, to then walking out and just falling off the cliff to then look after the baby. I was like, this is just...
You've skipped the Keighley bit, though. I want to know what you think, because to be honest with you, I think that bit made me feel quite uncomfortable. Because I know Keighley is no longer kind of like... Because he was game trailers, wasn't he? And I know he's kind of less of a critic now and more of a personality, I suppose, but that made me feel quite uncomfortable. Like, and then he's just basically putting his mates in the game, and but more than that, like the more celebrities they show to be in this game, the less interesting I think that is.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't want to play this game for sheer and utter like, oh, look who's here, because like I follow Kojima. The game. Yeah, and I follow Kojima on Twitter and stuff, and just recently he was like hanging out with Bring Me the Horizon. And like,
so they'll be in the game probably.
And that's the kind of where it's at, because this is a guy who came over to Germany and then said on stage, we're in crunch time right now, but yet you're having all these hangouts with these people and kind of giving away your thing, or like, Bring Me the Horizon probably are doing a song or whatever. But I think is it Ed Wright, the director of like Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, he's going to be in the game.
He also said that like he was like doing stuff with Kojima. Scanning me and stuff.
He literally said, thanks for scanning me, now I'm immortal. So it's like, yeah, you're going to be in the game then, aren't you?
Exactly. And I'm just like, I'm at a point where I'm like, Kojima, just make a movie if you want to make a movie.
Yeah, kind of. So,
just make a movie.
So let's ask the question, the burning question, right? I'll go to Gaz, because we've sort of shut him out a bit here, and I'm going to ask you, Gaz, are you one of those people, and no judgment here, genuinely, are you one of those people that don't know what kind of game this is going to be? Or do you have a handle on it, and if so, what is it?
I'm sort of one of those people that don't really know, because I don't care. Okay. Like I've not actually watched any of the Gamescom footage. I just saw like the thing, like I'd seen a bit of the stuff. I was like, oh yeah, Jeff Keighley's and that, and immediately I was like, fuck off. Just that to me is just no. And then I've not looked up obviously, but it's like, oh yeah, you can piss in the game. I'm like, I don't care. Like, why is that a thing in a game? I don't understand any. And every time I see someone, because I don't follow Kojima anymore because I just couldn't be arsed, but every time I see someone like retweeting him or whatever, it's always, hey, look who I'm putting in my game, or look who I'm friends with, and I'm just like, just stop it. It's cringeworthy now. I mean, I've been vocal in the past that I'm not really a massive fan of Kojima. Like, I think
he's made good games.
He definitely has. I wouldn't say Metal Gear 5 is one of them, which everyone seemed to love, but I just didn't think it was a Metal Gear game. I
would argue it's the best game he's made.
Because the thing with me is, it wasn't a Metal Gear game. It didn't feel like the Metal Gear formula didn't suit open world. Like, it worked in Ground Zeroes because it was like that small confined area, but the big open.
I think this is one of those things we're gonna have to disagree on, because I think it worked great in the open world.
Yeah, but that's the thing, like, because I will be honest and say that, like, I do have, like, my ranking of Metal Gear games, but I do love them all. Like, I do, and I enjoy its madness, and that's why the build-up to this has been, oh, okay, here it is, and, do you know, the whole mess that was 5 and stuff, and where we are now.
So reveal it, Ads. Reveal to the world what kind of game this is going to be, what genre of game.
It, like, I do think it's just a fucking survival game.
Yep, 100%. And do you know what? I think it's going to be, people are going to be so angry when they have to take a piss because their bladder's full. Because that, to me, I suspected that's what game it was.
Will they,
and then they showed that as like,
will they be angry, or will they just be like, oh, it's Kojima,
no, they
we
will.
love Kojima?
Because do you know what? Do you know what this game, every time I see it now, do you know what this game reminds me of?
Go on.
Metal Gear Survive with added cutscenes.
Yeah, like, in ways I do feel that, because, like, when we forgot to mention this part as well, but when it starts, when the gameplay immediately starts, the protagonist, I always forget the actor's name, Norman Reeves, whatever his name, yeah. He's there, and it gives you a prompt to wake up.
Yep.
So in my head, I'm going, so if you're prompting me to wake up, if I don't have to, like, stay asleep, then I'm just going to immediately do this. I'm just going to just wake up. Like, how many times am I going to have to, like, putting that feature into this, what is probably going to be a big game?
Yep.
Like, what is the purpose of this? Like,
it's postman survival. That's what I think it is. It's a postman survival game.
But he shows us absolutely.
Which, quite honestly, is my nightmare.
Yeah, the gameplay was like, we saw no combat again, like, with the enemies, and the actual environment itself is the same environment we've seen, which kind of looks a bit weird and cool, like, I have to admit. But I'm not sold. And then when the story was really given away, and they just went around it so much, and I was like, fuck off. Like, it started off with this connecting people and bringing people together. Stop.
But that said, I will play it because I want to know for myself. But you're not excited at the moment. Are you excited for some listener correspondence?
Absolutely.
This is Thomas's Corner. I'm more than happy to just name this Thomas's Corner and have him send the questions every week. Other people can do so at podcast@godisageek.com, at godisageek on Twitter. I think he could probably do it on Facebook, but we don't monitor that as much. But yeah, he has 3 questions for us this week, and we're going to answer them all. Have you ever pretended to like something, but then things go too far and you have to keep up the pretense forever? He says his barber still thinks he likes football nearly a decade on. Have you guys ever?
I think I've gone the other way, where I've sort of pretended not to like Bloodborne, when it's like, it's. I mean, I clearly don't like it the way others like it, but
no.
It's I suppose. But that's been and gone, I suppose. I've got one of those things where an old friend of my sister's still calls me by my brother's name, and I'm just kind of like, like, now and again, like, she'll walk past me in the street, and she'll say my brother's name, and I'm like, hi. I'll just carry on walking. I'm just
I have the same thing.
Yeah, it's just
Someone
it's got
calls
to
me Steve, and they call me Steve. See, I think this is weird, right? When we're just chatting, I don't go, hi Adam, you right, Adam? How you doing, Adam? Right, to Adam, and I wouldn't go, all right, Gaz, how's Gaz today? You right, Gaz? What are you up to, Gaz? That's not the way people speak, and yet this person constantly says Steve to me, like, in a way that they almost like they're calling me out, like, we both know that's not your name. Correct me, but I'm never gonna.
Yeah,
it's like fucking only.
It's so awkward. That.
Yeah. It kind of like. I mean, it kind of. Yeah. Can you do a Boycie laugh, Gaz?
I don't think I can. No, I can't remember his laugh.
Well, I might be able to muster one. Can you do one, Ad? Can you do a Boycie laugh?
Not at all. No way.
I'm gonna have to come away from the mic. Hang on, vamp for 2 seconds. Actually, that's enough. Marlene, that kind of thing. The Boycie laugh.
That'll do.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
You tried. You tried.
Yep. I mean, that's pretty bad. Only Fools is just terrific, isn't it? Ad, have you ever pretended to like something, Marlene?
I did laugh at this. I did laugh at this question because it is literally when he says my barber still thinks I like football nearly a decade on, I am in that boat.
Oh, no.
I laughed hard when this question came in, because it all just started with I went in for a haircut, sat down, and I was like, hey, what's up, and whatever chat, and it just so happens he goes, did you watch the game last night? And it was some it was some
of the It crowd.
but it was some Arsenal were playing, and I actually
literally the It crowd.
and I actually did see it. And I went, oh yeah, I did. And then from there on, it's just every fucking time. And I just can't. I don't have the courage. I'm like, yeah, it was good, alright. I just flag my way constantly through it. It's just like the most hilarious thing. I feel like such a dickhead though. But it's hard to like call people out. Like definitely the name thing, I would be in big trouble if someone called me something else other than Adam. I'd be like,
I get Alan. Andy,
I got
Steve.
Ellen. I got Ellen. Yeah, I got Ellen.
One person calls me Paul. That I just don't know.
Do you know what's actually bad? I got called Alan before, and then a person that was with me in the same room went, his name is Adam, and I just went,
oh no, I would have been well happy with that.
I was like, tonight I'm Alan. Why are you bringing that up? Why are you saying that? No, it's just awkward. You've made that person super awkward, and I'm just like, it's totally fine. Maybe I just think it's more extreme.
So this person who calls me Steve has done so for nearly 8 years. So like I can't change that now. I am Steve. As far as I'm concerned, to her, I'm Steve. I would also say no, I won't, because I've just completely lost my train of thought. It's the Boycie laugh, Marlene. It's just stuck in my head. No, I was going to say I sent an email, not via God is a Geek or in the games industry, like something totally different. It's football related, actually, funny enough. And I sent an email that has my signature and my position at the football club I represent at the bottom of my email, and the person replies straight back with, "Thanks, Andy." And it's like, it's fair. And I didn't correct him and replied again, and the signature was there again, and then the email came out this time. "Thanks, Adam." I was like, okay, you got it. Gary, what's the last thing you binge watched on television? Well, binge watched.
I think it was probably Titans.
Okay.
Because I mean, I'm terrible for TV stuff, because I get part way through and then I just stop watching. Not because I don't like it, I just don't go back. Like, I've watched half of Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime. I've not been back, even though I loved it. I've watched 3 episodes of The Boys. I've not been back. I wasn't as keen as others, but it was alright. I enjoyed it.
That's the thing. I think if you're not coming back, it's because you're not that fussed.
But
to me, it would be Stranger Things, and I thrashed that in 2-3 days, I think.
But that's the thing. Like Jack Ryan, especially, I loved it. I love that character, and I think I even talked. I don't know. I think I even talked about it on the pod like a while back. Like when it's like, and I'm terrible for it. I don't. There's no reason. I just stop watching. I'm horrible when it comes to that sort of thing.
Fair enough. What about you, Ads?
The Boys, and I think everyone should be fucking watching. I should watch that.
I think
The Boys is incredible.
I think for me it was the tone. I couldn't get a handle on its tone, because one minute it's like it's trying to be funny, the next it's really dark. There's like,
oh man, it gets deep, and it's just like, for anyone that's into the Avengers, it's so interesting.
I'm assuming it's like that because it's based on graphic novels, isn't it? So I'm assuming it's the same sort of tone there, where it's like a bit of a mishmash. It's not quite comedy. It's not quite drama or whatever, And
just go in and I just think just picking it up for yourself. Like I think 3 episodes is like, it's only like 8 episodes or something, and I just you need to finish it, man. It gets like the characters are so strong, and I think that to me is so unbelievable. If a show is only running for 8 episodes and at the end you're just so into the characters, there's a villain that comes into place and it's amazing. It's super hype, like super violent and everything. Just, I cannot wait for season 2. Cannot wait for it.
Fair enough.
Adam, what about you?
Well, it's Stranger Things, but also Bob's Burgers just got put on Amazon Prime, so I've been watching the series I hadn't seen of that, which is really enjoyable. But I wouldn't say I've quite binge watched it yet. It's Stranger Things, the new season. That I thrashed that in a couple of days.
It was good, wasn't it?
It was good, yeah. This last question isn't a question, it's a comment, and I think it's aimed at me. You Southerners have crap chippies, discuss. I kind of can't because I've never had chips up north. Like,
See,
I've been to Liverpool and places.
I've had both, and
Okay.
I have to agree with him. Like, the
chips
chips are all just they're really just like soggy and stuff.
No, they're not though. They're not. That's the thing. It depends on where you go. It's like anything. You can have a satay chicken
Me too,
from a
yeah,
Thai restaurant, but it tastes different. Like the one that we go to, which is called Lin's and is run by a Chinese family, oddly enough, is like their chips there are some soggy ones, but there are some that are soggy with crispiness to them, and there are some just crispy bits in there, and it's like that's just what I want. But if they were just all soggy all the time, I don't want to I don't want to pick a chip up and it's kind of going to mush in my hand. That's too much fat's gone on that. I can't. I will try some chips next time I'm up north. Last time we were up north would have been Liverpool, and I don't think we had chips, so I can't. I don't go up north much. And I know Thomas is from Scotland, isn't he? So like,
well, you got to get up and eat some chips, Adam.
Further north than I am.
Do you know? I have had Scottish chips. I've had chips in Scotland, in Glasgow. Actually, funny enough, I can tell you how specific. It will be a chip shop not far from where I got on the Renfrew ferry, Thomas. And they were not much different than the ones I had down here. So they were both good chippies. So there you go.
I like saying the word chips.
It's a good chips. I mean, it's a good word.
It's a good word. Chip.
It's a good chips. You know? That's
tiredness
for you. And on that note, thank you very much, Thomas, for the questions. Thank you very much to everyone for listening. Very quickly to remind you that you can go to YouTube.
Chips to them is
crisps. We're trying out a new sort of style.
Wasn't that phrase?
A little bit of text overlay in there now to give you sort of a similar situation that you get when you read it.
You know what I mean? Like, if they say
chips,
to have it narrated by myself or Mick Fraser.
Even though fries are very different to chips.
Patreon.com/GodIsGeek for £1 or $1 a month. You can support the site.
I prefer skinnier.
Massively. So, thank you.
I just confused everything there.
A little bit. Thank you for being here, chaps. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And to everybody else, we will speak to you next week, or whenever you choose to listen. If on 3 we could all do the Boycie laugh, I would be very much appreciative. 1, 2, 3. Marlene!
I just let you have it.
Bastard.